Oh, good. Brendan's here. He's in charge now. Sarah,
Yeah, I'm in charge. So can you guys please stop goofing around?
No side conversations. If you guys could just be quiet.
No jokes. No nothing.
Yeah.
It's going to be all serious business.
No fun allowed.
Yeah, right.
I don't know who this new board member is in this office, but
Brendan, how are you feeling about running this thing tonight?
I feel fantastic. I'm like ready to go with it.
Good.
I have a new neighbor moving in, so like I can watch him move in while
Nice.
running the meeting.
Nice.
And
well, I know that we're gonna have the compost folks are gonna join us in about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Do you want? Should we jump into this?
Yeah, let's jump in. Sarah sent me over kind of a general rough draft of the meeting or of an agenda. Okay. So, and really we just have three things: endorsement or conversation around moving the VNA to the new space. Second is annual meeting and election, kind of a process and what we're going to do going forward. And then the third is night market and any updates from Steve. So the third one is a lot on Steve, and hopefully we can.
Hopefully he doesn't drop the ball. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of talk about the endorsement for moving the VNA and what we need to do going forward.
Good. We feel really good about the move over there. We've been looking at the building and actually had some doors put back on today. We have invited Gwendolyn to come with us. She has accepted the invitation. Magic has accepted the invitation, and I'm not sure if we've got a third person or if there's still an invitation kind of in limbo for the Autism Society. This was we felt like we could move. We were well within like I guess the guidelines in terms of moving over there. Jen would like a board, not necessarily a motion, but maybe just something to a move of support, just so that we could. She would feel better if it was if the board either recommended it or supported the move somehow. So I don't know what we need for that, if there's data or information that you need, or if it's just a matter of us saying we'd like to move the offices. This is the reasoning and the thinking, and we're looking for a motion to support.
And that's from the whole board, not just from the executive.
Yeah, I think so. You know, we talked to Sarah and we felt like this could probably be something that we just did internally. But I think Jen, because of some of the sensitivities with property management lately, would like to have the assurance knowing that the board is fully aware of these things, so that it isn't one of these things that we're boxed up and ready to go. And Brendan is upset about something.
Pretty upset about it. So
yeah, he's.
I think Steve, I'll talk to Jen about this too, but I think probably the best option would be to ask you and the staff and whatever volunteers to put together like a pro versus cons list of the two spaces.
Yeah. Yep.
I think one thing that would be very specific is there going to be a differential between potential revenues between the two spaces, if any?
Okay.
The short answer will probably be that it actually either breaks even or potentially
yes,
makes slightly more money. Yeah, I would assume, but
yes,
yeah, like
we'll get a pro forma or something like that, Jared, for sure. Yeah, that place would have sat empty for a while in terms of waiting until we could prepare it for the next person.
Agreed.
So yeah, okay, I'll get that going.
Yeah, Steve, I think that would be good. And just, I mean, you gave an update on our current kind of tenants within our space. I think something around that would be great. Just
when we vacate 814. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like, do they want to come on board? Because if we leave one person back or something, I'm sure it's not part of the deal.
Well, first off, we don't leave anybody behind, Brendan. Yeah, for sure. We'll do that. Okay. You know, I think I can do the night market real quick, and because the annual meeting might take a minute, let's just, if that's all right with you, can we jump ahead to the
Whoa, Steve, come on, man. The one time I'm leading this thing. Yeah, go ahead with the night market.
Okay. The night market, as folks may know, we've been in discussion since probably about March or so with the city of Kalamazoo about hosting a market within our parking lot back here. They've been great meetings. They've come up with some really great designs and graphics and logos and ideas for what they want to do. And last week we met and we talked about the budget, and the budget was $10,000. And the city told me that they've got $1,000 to contribute to this night market. And so I didn't want to, the best thing to do at the time was just say, okay, thanks a lot. We'll take this information back. It's a really cool project, but it's obviously a 2021 project. We don't have $9,000 extra laying around. What we can do though is I've talked to Carol Snap at the Gilmore Foundation. We've withdrawn our application. We're going to put all this new information, the new budget, the new artist renderings in there, and it's going to make the grant look that much better. And we'll put some of the stuff in there. When I talked to the city, I did mention that I would bring this up at the executive committee, and that we thought we'd kind of vet it at this point. But whether it's been Nicole, Jen, Sarah, we don't have the budget to support that project this year.
Okay.
If there's an urgency to it, we'll ask that the city find more funds for it.
Okay. Yeah, I do think it'd be interesting to, when it gets closer or whenever it comes up, to just, because it'd be interesting to hear about more of the details behind it.
I can send it along. They're fantastic renderings. I mean, it looks great, and the budget is highly detailed. And there are some things on there that we've talked about in terms of picking off just because they're things we need here. So actually the budget at $10,000 was not entirely intimidating. It was actually a fairly doable budget. Whether we have, we can't turn around and do it, I believe, this year or in the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks or so. So I'll just parlay that back to the city. I don't know if I know there's some urgency, but I don't know exactly how much urgency to do something this fall with this. But even if we put this on the back burner for right now, all the meetings that we've had with the consultants and all the renderings and the budgets that have been produced have been really great for what we want to do out of here.
So what is the night market exactly?
The night market would be very similar to what they do at the farmers market, in that we would have vendors in the back out here. We'd have kiosks and picnic tables and lighting, and they'd have a stage, very much in line with what we've talked about wanting to do in the parking lot, how we'd like to utilize the parking lot. There's something, they want to make 5 permanent picnic tables in the parking lot back here, and that's not really going to happen. But in terms of just initial conversations, in terms of what this could look like, it's been really good. It's really great. It's been nice to work with them. So it's been productive. I've never felt like it was a waste of our time when we got to brass tacks last week and we got in the budget and I realized what our component of the budget was. Okay.
And it would be a permanent?
Some of the things would be permanent. Some of the things would be things that we would use for events. That, the 5 picnic tables. Obviously, we replace those with 6 or however many 6-foot long tables. So there's an eye with some of this being geared towards permanency, but the majority of it would be something that we would just kind of roll out every month. The conversation was around art hops and how we could support the art hops and do these things. And this was not necessarily a night market, but an evening event was something that came back to us with some frequency when we did the neighborhood assessment. People would like to do something at night.
So like that, the vision is it would be a periodically reoccurring nighttime, not a one-time event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
so some of these
every
initial
month
costs
or
would be running wiring into the parking lot, which is all things that we talked about in the other grant that we submitted to Gilmore. It would have been nice if they had dovetailed a little bit better, but as it is right now, I think it's fine. And I don't know, again, I'm not sure what the urgency is to have a night meeting in the current environment.
My only one question is, could we scale it back, or do you think the $10,000 budget is the way to go?
Yeah, we could scale it back. We could definitely scale it back. There is a part I would kind of like to see, if we tell the city that it is cost prohibitive, that we don't have the funds for it right now. I'd like to see what they're able to do, because it really isn't an awful lot of money. And I've had other people say, in terms of what the neighborhood associations are receiving for projects, this is really kind of a drop in the bucket. So, you know, we could piece it together and come up with something that we could kind of piecemeal what we've got and have an event, or we can kind of wait and see. I think there's going to be a couple of other budgets that they produce as well, kind of a next level in terms of tiers and in funding. So
I have two thoughts about this. One is that we're talking about also needing to go to the Gilmore Foundation, and I don't know, it seems like maybe that grant process stalled out.
no, the
Did we
grant
do
was
the parking lot?
submitted. If the grant was submitted, there was a hang up with the IRS with the nonprofit. So it was an opportunity to call Carol and talk to Carol and say, this is the situation with the nonprofit status. However, we've also been meeting with this group that, and they've got these architectural renderings and a budget that just supplements what we submitted earlier. And Carol thought that would be a fantastic addition. And she also encouraged us to find another partner to come to the table in a project of this scale. So it gives us a little bit more time. I think there's 2 more submission dates for the IS Gilmore grant submission. We also have, the grant's really pretty much good to go with just a few tweaks and adding some of this renderings and art. It should not be too difficult to add that to the existing grant request.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like if we can fold some of the infrastructure costs into infrastructure improvement that we have to do already, that
Yes,
makes sense. And it also makes sense to not redo the parking lot without including that,
yeah.
the things that would be required for, like, don't do a big project that excludes this other thing we're trying to do, right?
Right. You know, there's a desire from the project coordinators to convert part of the street closest to my back wall here into a one-way street, which is something that we've talked about before. But you know, obviously, we don't have the capacity to do that in 3 weeks for a night market. So I feel like everything that they've produced, the group out of Cincinnati that the city hired, has been really really great for us to get our eyes on, and has a lot of merit in terms of the project. I just don't see how we can. I don't see how we can pull it off at this in the next few weeks, and I don't really know why we should try
No,
to pull it off.
I don't think
you know?
it doesn't sound like something we want to rush, but I think that there's
Yes.
also other money from other pots at the city that I think we should look at going after. Like, we should be taking this project and the fact that we're getting money from the Gilmore and bringing it to CDAC, because they have a specific targeted neighborhood fund
Yes.
that I think is, I don't want to be a total butt and say it wrong. I think it's $200,000 or something.
We have, you know, we have the matching, we have the facade improvement grant from LISC. So when we wrote this grant, it actually all presented very well on the paper, and that we have $25,000 from LISC, and that we are bringing funds of our own. If
Right.
there is funds either from CDAC or whether it's the community foundation, neither one of those would have to be a very large ask. I mean, I think because this is the budget was really doable. You know, I think if we were to ask for $5,000 from the community foundation or something like that,
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's more of a good faith movement than anything else.
There is money. So CDAC has this pot that they've set aside for neighborhoods. And the feedback I've gotten is, if we want it, we need to come with an actual idea, a project.
Okay.
And this would be perfect. This would check the boxes for like something that improves the
Yeah,
neighborhood, that we
for
can show
sure.
that the neighbors want it, and that it's an infrastructure. I
Yeah,
think it
no,
would
that sounds great,
work
Mickey.
for
You and I
that.
should talk. I see that Jamie has joined us. We should segue into the annual meeting probably, just because. But
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
So-
Brennan, if you could make that sound like it's your idea, that would be cool.
There was a great conversation going on, and I didn't want to, impede
Sorry,
it at all.
Brendan.
No, you're fine. So Jamie, are you there?
Hi there.
Hello.
You're still on mute. Hi,
Good
Jamie.
evening.
Hi.
It's been a long day,
Yeah, it's been a long year.
Yeah.
whatever day it is, right?
Yeah. So Jamie, welcome to the group. And yeah, if you just kind of want to give a little bit of a kind of an overview of what's going on and kind of talk about it a little bit, and then yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks all for letting me crash your meeting and consider helping us out with and joining in on a project that the city wanted to do in collaboration with an intern that we had this summer from Kalamazoo College. So he comes to us from this K's community building internship program. And so the interns are tasked with finding some sort of like community-based project that they can do over the summer. And one of the things specifically I had hired him on to do in our office was to work on some sustainability kind of initiatives. And I guess it was back in March when the city held like a focus group all about kind of waste and being more sustainable with our waste. And Brendan was, part of that, and a couple other folks who all were really focused on residential compost and being able to offer some sort of composting service or kind of explore that idea with how do we really encourage more residents to compost their food waste. So once the intern came on this summer, we had a series of conversations with Brendan, with Chris Broadbent, who does a little kind of like a micro business, right, on his bike picking up compost. And what we thought could be really interesting as a way to do some outreach and engagement, especially, I appreciate what Steve's saying. It's so hard right now. Like there aren't events. How do you do something that's safe and social distance? And so the idea we came up with was maybe doing like a free compost challenge week. And we're targeting sort of that last week of August, beginning of September, where people would be able to come and get a sort of a free bucket they would be able to take home and collect their food compost and waste for the week. And then they could put it out at the end of their driveway or put it out for pickup on a certain day. And we were going to be targeting September 3rd. And so that way we'd like to incorporate a survey that we're going to ask folks to do, because we'd like to get a sense from, if we're going to reach out to these folks, we'd like to get a sense of kind of, who would be interested, and also kind of what model or what willingness to pay, like what works for them. So, I think at the bucket pickup day, which we were kind of targeting maybe like August 25 and 27. I know it's coming up quickly, but we have like artwork and stuff all ready to go. And so I think we just kind of need to pull the trigger and make a decision on it and pick our dates. But they come to the pickup and they can do a survey, or they can do the survey online, and we can give them information about composting in your own backyard. We're curious if that's maybe a model more people would like, or if they really do just like the idea of the service, like, someone comes and picks it up every week for me. It's easy, simple. Maybe folks are interested in a drop-off site because, that can be more affordable than a pickup option. So we had our intern put together kind of a short survey, but just to get enough information. So we thought this would be a combination of information gathering and education. And we wanted to work in the Vine neighborhood because we know there just seems to be a lot of interest in that neighborhood in particular. And we thought it also kind of presented itself as a way to get some information out, but we don't really need to have a lot of interaction with folks. We feel like we can probably do like the bucket pickup and stuff. We can space that out and do lots of sanitizing. And then when it comes to the, or that's when, people are coming to pick up their empty bucket. And then when they put the bucket out the next week, we shouldn't have to have any really interaction. They get to put it in one spot. And between Chris and a couple of volunteers, we will have folks addresses if they want to give us their address so we know which properties to pick them up from. And we're going to offer a drop-off option too, in case maybe, people forget or miss the pickup day. They can still bring that right to the compost business in the Vine, or maybe they're just, don't want to give out their address and don't want someone stopping by. I think that could help accommodate those folks. So, what are we asking the Vine to do? We'd love it if you could help us share and advertise, right? Because right now we're looking at if we launched everything next Monday, that, it's about a week to a little less than 2 weeks that we'd have to advertise and tell people, where they can sign up and come pick up their buckets. And we would love to be able to have that physical location if we could do it at the Vine offices outside in like a late afternoon. We're thinking like a 4:30 to 7 pickup window on 2 different days. And again, I think between our intern and some city planning staff, and then we also have our environmental concerns committee, which I know a number of those folks live in the Vine. Like, I feel like we could recruit some volunteers to be there. So I don't know if we need to lean on the association for volunteers. We have, and we have a couple of other interns too. I feel like I can get all the volunteers. But yeah, if you could help us do some of the advertising and then sharing the survey, and what we want to be able to do then is share back with you all kind of what results we got. We'd like to, certainly track data like how many people participated and what amount of food waste we were able to collect. Brennan, is there anything you wanted to add? I know we've had a couple of meetings to try to kind of get organized, but it has come together kind of quickly because it's on the scale of an intern summer
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
term.
I mean, I think it's a nice low cost program that can really bring a different service to the neighborhood and other neighborhoods. And I think it's something that, we're donating the buckets from used pickle buckets from the hospital. So I think it's a good overall easy win for the neighborhood with social distancing involved as well.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for laying that out. I think there'll be a lot of residents that are in harmony with this program, or at least interested in trying to see how they can participate. So we're here to support the efforts. If you need volunteers, we'll be glad to post something or to put the call out for it. I'll kind of hold off on that and wait for you or someone to let me know.
Yeah, so I actually have here, I wonder if I can share my screen. Will I be given that permission?
I can do that in a second.
Oh, okay. I wanted to show you, I just got a draft today from one of our city communications people, and she designed a yard sign. So we thought that'd be one nice way to get it out in the neighborhood instead of we were looking at a mailer or something. And this was a little more attractive and or eye-catching and oh, looks like I still can't share. A way to kind of get the word out and kind of let people know when it's happening. And so that's one thing we could use volunteers who would be willing to put a yard sign out in their yard. So
Sure.
the idea is that hopefully we could get those back from Cal Blue on Monday. And then my intern Sam and I were planning on Monday afternoon to, put signs out, probably stop by the compost place that Chris runs and get a little tour and just kind of get organized. We'll probably put some flyers around with businesses who are interested in helping us advertise. And I think sort of at that point, I'm going to hit up my volunteers. And I just wanted to make sure kind of everything was a go and we had a plan. And so I'll start recruiting my volunteers. And then if I have a gap or think I need some extra help, I will definitely let you guys know.
Well, okay, thanks.
I wanted to show the little, oh, perfect. I just wanted to quickly show you the little design. So if you start seeing it, can you see the green sign here with a little compost bucket?
I like it.
Yeah, and then I wanted to make sure you were good with keeping your logo, and then we have City of Kalamazoo, and then I'm actually using a small budget, around $1,000 is what it's costing us to put it on, and so I'm using Foundation for Excellence dollars. So
No, it looks great.
just a draft getting started, but all right. Well, thanks for giving me some of your time, and I will then, I guess, communicate with Steve then on some of the links and sharing and getting the word out.
Yeah, I think Steve and Jen will be able to help with that a lot. So thanks, Jamie.
Thanks,
Perfect.
Jamie.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Jamie. Can you give me the permissions back when you leave?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you give me the host permissions back when you leave?
Oh, yes, I will, because I've had someone stop my meeting, close the whole meeting down because I didn't.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I was thinking ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Jared.
Huh. I'm having. Do you want to tell me where I go? Usually I can just click on my little menu and it'll say.
Hover over my portrait. There's a triple dot, and then it should say make host.
Oh, yes, make you back. Okay, perfect. Great.
Thanks,
You should
Jamie.
be all set. Okay,
Thank you,
bye,
Jamie.
guys.
Bye.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we have our one last thing. We have 4 minutes. the election and yeah, the election and how moving forward with our annual meeting. So yeah, I know we postponed it and had that conversation about, how do we move forward with that annual meeting, and I don't think anyone really has a silver bullet for it. So
Not really. Yeah. I think at this point, we're just going to try to pick out a date and go for it and do the best that we can and set up the meeting with invites and go from there. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly what Sarah's request was to come out of this particular session with, whether it's just to raise awareness or to let the EC know next week, or let the board as a whole know next week that we'll be trying to pull this off at some point.
yeah, I mean, I think for me, it seems like an awareness thing.
Mhm.
We have to, at some point, come up with an annual meeting and something
Yeah.
to elect the board. I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's simple to pick a Tuesday at some point, but I think we just have to do that or pick out whatever date it is, but we just have to do it.
Yeah, I think from where I'm sitting, I did some research on election systems, like voting systems. So to me, it would make sense to, instead of doing an annual meeting, just do it all digital. Have applicants make YouTube videos, and then we can just do it all digitally. It wouldn't be hard to set up, and then we wouldn't have to worry about specifically getting 100 people into a room somewhere.
Jared, would you think like voting digitally too, or would you think that we would do like
Yeah,
a mail-in vote?
Yeah, I did some research on potential election systems, and I found a couple that I liked that make a decent amount of sense for us, and that aren't super expensive. But to me, it would make sense. Like, we could very easily put YouTube videos up of everybody giving their 2-minute speech or whatever, and then just have a 1 week long open window. We could also very easily set up a computer in the VNA for people if they want to come in and cast their vote because they don't have access online. It wouldn't be super hard to do. We would just have to have a question in there that identified a person as an actual person, and make sure that they're on the voter roll, et cetera, and so forth.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I think Jared, if you want to come up and and put together that recommendation of specific, the specific software or, and way that you think we should go about it, I think that would be great to kind of have in writing for a plan going forward.
Yeah, I'll work on that the next couple of days and have something presentable by Tuesday.
That'd be great. And then it's not Sarah or I who's up for election putting it forward. So
Exactly.
Everybody,
And guaranteed nobody wants to be the fucking accountant again or the treasurer. So
Brendan's not up for the election again this
I don't
year?
know if you all already discussed this, but one thing I was thinking about a little bit ago in regard to the election was just kind of making sure that we prioritize sort of solicitations for board applications. And then once those are received, making sure we set up on sort of a timely enough deadline to give ourselves time to publicize those bios that we can get from people in advance. And really, I'm feeling like giving the public the opportunity to kind of review candidates on their own time and then show up to the meeting or submit, their ballots remotely or on their own time, really kind of maybe would maximize turnout for the election and give people the best opportunity to find out about who's running. And so it could actually turn out pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I think you might have come in just at the end of this, but I think Jared's idea that instead of actually even having an annual meeting, just having a week-long window and just have it be an election process instead of an annual meeting, I think that really makes a lot of sense for right about now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
'Cause
yeah, I
think
think maybe we are on the same
I
page.
hope I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing you correctly, Jared. I didn't mean to
Yep, I thought,
felt like
I
that's
thought
what you
was.
Yeah, as I said, I missed the total discussion, but you know, it sounds like you guys were already really on that
My thought
already.
is literally have people record a 2-minute stump video, put it on our
Awesome.
YouTube channel. And then we can delete them afterwards, have them up for a week, and then have an open
Yeah.
window for voting for a week, and then close it on a Sunday at midnight or something.
I love that.
The only trickiness is just going to be to make sure that we figure out a good way to like confirm that a vote is a unique person rather than a spoof or somebody pretending. But that shouldn't be super hard. We could ask for something like birth date or something. I don't know.
Or an address. Could we do an address, Jared?
We could do an address easy. I mean, that makes sense because you have
Yeah,
to
probably just
define.
their mailing address in the Vine, or, you know, their organization that's in the Vine or whatever.
Do you want me to work, do you want me and Steve to work on vetting the email addresses and trying to bolster that up a bit in the meantime? And do we want to try to do a Vine line in between now and then to just sort
Yes,
of put it out
yes,
there?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. We've got a Vine line that needs to come out, and especially, you know, with this composting efforts and some of the other stuff that's going on
Yeah.
when we move the office too. So I'm definitely, well, formatting a Vine line would be a strong word, but I'm thinking of it right now. So
Perfect. Well,
Yeah,
we're
I
only
think-
2 minutes over, guys.
I think
Hey,
that it's a good
great,
idea to
fantastic.
not try to push for paper ballots at this time, because that kind of seemed like a piece that made it a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
again,
it's
sorry
just
for coming in late here. Did we set a schedule for that?
we did not set the schedule for that. We talked about raising the awareness of setting the
Okay.
schedule, but we just need to, if we just want to pick a date, we can do that.
Yeah, could I add just another maybe minute to the discussion to maybe kind of come to arrive at some sort of recommendation for the board for next week as far as a timeline?
I was going to write my proposed process out anyway. So what are you guys thinking in terms of timeline? Because I can just bake that in.
Well,
we
next
just
month
do-
would be very ambitious to get a Vine line out in advance and be able to have a timely, you know, or like a good window for everything. And I will add as a note, and this is kind of part of why I brought it up, is that our October board meeting falls on my 40th birthday. And I think that I will either not be able to be present for that, or if it were to be rescheduled as our annual meeting that month on a different date, or, you know, the election, all the remote things that we're doing in place of that, I'd be able to participate, but just wanted to
I
mention
think
that.
given the proposal that I've sort of laid out, there wouldn't be a necessity for a specific day.
Mhm.
It would just be a week-long affair.
Right.
So really, it would be what we would really want to say is like, do we want to aim for like the last week of October to be our process, which gives us 6.5, 7 weeks to roll out a Vine line and solicit for board members and get people to record stump videos. And
Jared, I think that sounds great. And then if we make our November meeting, our annual meeting, just a more official online annual meeting, where we announce candidate who won and stuff and things like that.
that sounds great, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
One
Do we have a
last-
motion for
What,
We don't need a motion because we're
dang it, Jared? I'm the official
all right. Then
commander of this meeting.
one last question to throw out there would be, in this new scenario, what would the changeover timeframe or logistics look like?
well,
As far as when exactly new members come in place?
I think we have sort of two options there, and it could either be actually. So what I'm imagining right now, given what Brendan just said, is October 31st or whatever that week is, we'll know who won. We can make the announcements online, but then the next meeting will be the official, like those people coming in. So maybe what we do is the next EC meeting, we have the current EC. Because we would still need to do board elections once. So we would just need to schedule a secondary board meeting following that week process where the full board gets together to vote on new.
Jared,
I think
Jared, I think we could do that as a subset of that November meeting.
Do
Like
we
at the
want to shoot
beginning.
for doing that, all of that right there at the end of October? Because that annual meeting, it doesn't really need to fall in line with our normally scheduled time frame for board meetings. Because I think if we actually threw it in at the end of October, we would be able to assume normal operations by our November meeting with the new members in place.
Yeah, we could do that. We could. Let's say we voting finished Sunday night at midnight, and then Tuesday we had. So the first Tuesday of the month, which I think would cut into our community cares, I believe. Correct, Steve?
Yes. But we've not been having those anyway. We've not been hosting those. So
Then we could call that first Tuesday of the month the board elections or the EC elections.
I think we're looking at November 1st.
Is that Tuesday?
Yep, that's the 1st of November.
so. If I could just point out that we actually totally restructured our EC election procedures so that the new members of the board of directors would at least know what a meeting looked like and have a chance to get feedback from current EC members about what EC officership duties actually looked like before they were asked to say whether or not they would run for them. And I think if we did it this way, we would totally circumvent all of those procedures we put in.
No, the new process didn't have them sit in a meeting per se.
No, like we had a normal meeting and then at the end of the meeting, we did the election.
Right. So that would be this meeting. It would be that Tuesday. It would be
Also,
the
we
whole board as it exists
November
getting
1st.
together.
would just reschedule our normal board meeting. And then
Okay.
tack
Well,
on-
it would be the post annual meeting BOD meeting. Because the way that the new EC election process works is there's an entire board of directors meeting immediately following the annual meeting.
Mhm.
And the current board of directors facilitates the new ED, or the current ED facilitates the new election. For the ED.
My apologies, y'all. I was looking at the wrong month. That is absolutely not November 1st. That is election day, by the way. So I don't know that we want to go there. Would October 27th, that last week of October, would that be, I think probably the alternative we'd be looking at for our October meeting, just basically pushing it out a week later than usual to that last Tuesday of October.
Alternatively, let's give ourselves 2 months and make it the middle week, or the second week of October.
November.
13th?
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Second week of November, rather.
Oh.
So I'd rather push it back than move it forward.
My only reluctance is again that our national election would be 1 week before that, and we would, along with the fact that we have at least one board member who's running for an office. I think that it would be maybe a lot for people to expect us to pull all that together, right at that moment of the national election.
I don't believe that a meeting that truly is not very long at all, or shouldn't be very long at all. I don't believe that meeting would make things more or less difficult for anybody. Also, I don't believe that having the fact that the process would be 1 week long and we're giving ourselves 2 months to get it prepared, rather than. I think that there would not be. I don't think it would be a problem, personally. Like, yeah, it's close to the national election, but also like that can't be a reason to just not do a thing. Or if it is, then it needs to be, we need to either wait till the end of November or try to do it way before that, I think.
How do we feel about proposing those two options to the board next week, with all of the recommendations for logistics really being doable in either scenario?
Sure.
October 27th or November 10th as the two options, and then we'll come to a decision next Tuesday and we'll set it in stone.
That sounds good to me.
Awesome.
2 thumbs up.
Cool. I'll write
What's the
out this
November date?
process and have it ready for Tuesday.
Thank you so much for doing all that.
Jared, what was the November date specifically again? I didn't catch that, sorry.
I'm not looking at a calendar. so-
November 10th,
November 10th. Thank you, Sarah.
which would be the date of our normal November EC meeting. All right. And did we have any other business on our business agenda tonight?
All business is complete.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brendan. I am ready to transition us into our work session. I will ask that we go ahead and kind of cut the live feed at this point, since we are adjourning our regular business for the executive committee meeting, and I doubt anybody's gonna wanna sit around for an extra hour to watch us go through our boring calendar stuff. So
Sounds good. Cutting the live feed.
thank you.